Right, ready for a couple reasons today. A few of you have messaged and asked about this car and yeah, what the go is with it, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a rundown on it. A few of you asked how the cut-and brakes work, so I'll show you the how they operate as well. And yeah, I need content this week, so this is what you're getting. So yeah, we'll do a quick rundown on this thing, do a demonstration of the cut-and brakes, and we'll see what else. So I built this car over, probably took me a year and a half, I think, or about that. Finished it in 2017. Yeah, raced Wild Dog 2017 and Patrol Apart 2018. We had pretty good results. I'm pretty sure it was a 6th and a 7th off memory, out of 30 odd cars. At Wild Dog we had a few stage wins as well, which was awesome. So yeah, it's a very capable car. 2019, unfortunately I couldn't race, and then yeah, 2020 obviously there is no racing, so hopefully next year I'll get back into it, if all this stuff settles down and they run racing again, which would be good. So at the front, it's obviously running the Red Winch Hornet. That is going on my wagon if you've been playing along. So there's a new winch coming for this, which would be awesome. All this bar work and everything is, I made it in the shed, and it was sort of the car that I learnt on. So it was a massive learning curve doing this, and I guess it's one way to learn is just have a crack. So I started at the back, which I'll show you soon, and then yeah, this bar was the last thing that we made. So it come up pretty good and I'm pretty happy with it. So the whole front has been shortened 5 inches. So it's still got the original chassis. Yeah, so that the front chassis hasn't been shortened, but the whole radiator support panel and the inner guard and everything, it's all been shortened. Yeah, guard's obviously been shortened. Fiberglass bonnet, so that makes it easy just to cut the end off it. So that was an interesting job. If I build a car again, I don't know whether I'll do that again, but the approach angle is awesome, as you can see. It definitely helps. I also chopped the sills off, so that's just flat plated in. Made it heaps easier to make the sliders and a bit more clearance under the side. The chassis hangs down a little bit, but yeah, that hasn't been a real issue at all. The rear guards and that I tried to keep sort of half practical, which it's not really, but yeah, it seems to work pretty well. If you have been watching for a while, you know that I've made all sorts of bolt-on bits so I can take it camping, which I haven't finished yet, but that's definitely on the cards. Long range fuel tank, 140 odd litres or whatever, so that's also good, so then I don't have to carry jerry cans anywhere. The winch batteries under here, so it's got 4 Dalcor 31 1000s pairing the winch, which they do a good job. The 50 litre methanol tank, so this car's got water methanol injection, which I'll show you a bit more in a minute. Obviously the rear mount radiator, which it works good, but obviously it takes up a lot of room in the back. So again, if I build another car, I'd probably leave the front longer and honestly leave the radiator in the front for practical reasons. But yeah, it does work well in the back in a racing situation, like never gets full of mud or anything like that. And the roof scoop feeds air when you're at speeds. I noticed a huge difference with that roof scoop, or with a roof scoop, just cruising down the road at 100 k's or whatever. Yeah, massive difference to coolant temps between 10 and 15 degrees cooler with the roof scoop. Then obviously compressor on the back, that was inside, which was a bad mistake, but now it's outside, so that's good. And this is a washer bottle, and there is one on the other side as well here. And yeah, the lines feed up across the roof into this tube across the front. It's pretty ghetto setup, but it bloody works well. I'll see if I can make it work. I don't know if you can see that, but it puts a lot of water on the windscreen, and it's yeah, it works well. Roof sliders, pretty necessary, and yeah, the light bar rack, he's just welded to it, 42-inch light bar on the roof. And then yeah, I made these other bars which actually go through the roof in 2 spots and then tie into the roll cage. So the idea is that you can roll the car and, well, like a gentle rollover, and it doesn't wreck anything. So once the A-pillars and that are crushed in, then the car's pretty much buggered. 37-inch pit bull tyres on 17x9, or I think they're 8s actually. Welded beadlock rings. They are an awesome tyre. I definitely I would run them nearly over anything else on this car for racing purposes, but even being a radial, they still handle good, which is a major plus. So there's nothing worse than having a tyre that makes the car handle like a boat. So these handle really well, and they got lots of traction, and these are still the original tyres from 2017. So I've done 2 races and plenty of drives, and they've still got plenty of life left in them, so they do last. All right, I'll show you what's under the bonnet of this thing. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. It's got a pin in either corner. Makes it easy to work on when you whip the bonnet off like that. So obviously TB42 turbo. If you can't tell by now, I love these engines. They are bloody awesome. So Mamba TDO 625G with a 12cm rear, external gate down the bottom there. It's a 38mm teal or tile, depends on how you say it. It's actually still running the eBay high mount manifold. So I bought that when I built the car. Yeah, it's been good actually. I cut in between each cylinder down the main flange, and yeah, it's been really good actually. It's been on a couple different heads. I've had it on and off as well, so it's lasted pretty good. No cracks so far. I guess I'll keep running it until it cracks, and to be honest, I'll probably put another one on there. Same airbox as the wagon. Snorkel, pretty basic stuff. 4-inch intake. Same intake as the wagon, RB20 forward facing one. It's got factory injectors that have just been high flowed. I'm probably going to change them out pretty soon. A couple of them seem to be a little bit leaky, so I'll be updating them at some stage. EF Falcon alternator, and nothing else really that special under here. It's got a 24 volt alternator, which, where can you see here? It's in place of the aircon pump. Obviously don't have aircon on this car. So yeah, it's not really a good spot for it, but it's worked, so it's probably going to stay there. It's only got a small front mount. It's probably a limiting factor in this setup. Maybe one day I'll see if I can fit a bit bigger one in there, but for now it's good enough. Yeah, and LS coils mounted up here out of the way. The water mesh solenoids here. So feed line, and then it comes out. Got 2 jets into the intake, 2 nozzles into the intake here. That works brilliant. I do love the stuff. It's on both cars. Same kit, Aquamist HFS3 or HSF3. This car, because I had more inputs left over in the Haltech, so this is controlled by the Haltech, so it's got its own sort of table, or yeah, has its own table in the Haltech, which yeah, obviously controls the solenoid, which yeah, seems to work well, where the wagon, it's only on and off with the Haltech, and then it's mapped off injector duty cycle, so a little bit different but basically the same. Electronic boost controller, same on the other car. They're pretty much a must, I reckon. They are brilliant. And wideband O2 sensor in the exhaust. And obviously these are the radiator lines that go to the back of the car, so they go under, along the chassis and up to the radiator in the back. It's pretty simple, this. So with the Haltech, it has its own loom. Where is it? That's it. So these two plugs, if you can see that, it's all that runs the engine. So no idle control valve, no aircon switch valve, obviously. It's all pretty basic stuff, real easy to do. It's like, it would be the perfect setup if you had a carby, like a carby TB, and you wanted to turbo it. So first thing to do is throw the carby in the bin, because that's where they belong. And yeah, something like this, super simple and easy to do, and the benefits of it are massive. So yeah, if you are looking at turbo on a TB and you have a carby, definitely consider yeah, a Haltech with one of their looms, and then just wire it in. It's bloody easy, and you'll definitely thank me later for that, because carbies are rubbish. All right, so suspension is it's got coilovers all around, as you can see there. They're 12-inch coilovers. Their brand is FOA. Now, I've had a good run with them, but a lot of people haven't, which is fair enough. But they're an awesome entry-level coilover, and seeing as I hadn't done any of this before, it was a real good learning curve. Like, I'd hate to learn with coilovers that are worth 8 grand or whatever. I'd rather learn with these. So if I ever did it again, I would probably buy a better set of coilovers, and I now have a better understanding on how to set them up. Yeah, that's just a brace for the towers. Probably not really necessary, but you never know. So it does takes up a little bit of room, but anyway, you get that. It's also got FOA hydraulic bumps. So they're 2.5 diameter, 2-inch travel. Sort of, they work good. I wouldn't really go any longer travel, because then you lose too much up travel on your stroke of your coilover, but that's just me. But yeah, it all works pretty well. Like, it definitely handles very well, and I've got no complaints about yeah, how it's all really set up. Although if I did do it again, yeah, there are definitely a few little changes I'd make to just make them work that little bit better. It's got limit straps all around as well, which you probably can't see. GU front, obviously, superior panhard and heavy duty tie rod and drag link. It's got a FOA steering dampener as well, which is yeah, 2.5 inch. It's pretty big, but that works good. And I do have a lot of spares for them, shims and whatever, so I'm planning on playing with them again, change the shims and that. So I've done it once before. I'm not quite happy with it, but it's yeah, it's all part of learning. So in the back, it's got a Curry anti-rock sway bar, which is just a torsion bar style. Coilovers in the rear, res mounts. It's also got the res mounts in the front, which are under the bonnet. So one res mount there, and the other one here. And yeah, all the control arms and panhard, I made them in the back, made them myself. It's all pretty basic stuff, to be honest. The panhard's braced, the panhard mount, sorry, is braced. There's a tube that goes in there. And I've done the same in the front. Brace the panhard mount, you can see it up there. Runs across to the other side of the chassis, stops the panhard mount breaking off, which I've seen plenty of times. And I plated the back of it too, so it's all plated in there. Strengthen it all up. So on the inside, this has all been revamped if you've been keeping up. Haltech dash, which is unreal. The reverse camera, normal stuff, UHF. The winch isolators, the 12 volt isolator, 12 volt batteries back here. Air tank and that behind the seat. It's all pretty basic stuff. These window bars on the roll cage pretty much only put there because the outside comes through there, so it's all braced, so hopefully it shouldn't crush on a small rollover. And can't forget the cup holders, made them recently. And these are the cutting brakes. So on the rear it has an extra caliper on either side, and obviously the right handle does the right wheel, the left handle does the left wheel. So I mounted them there so I can use them too, but generally when you're racing, the Navi does it. But obviously they're still in a good position for the Navi, but yeah, when I'm socially driving, I do still use them a fair bit because they are pretty fun to use. I have seen people put them at the passenger feet, so they can just control them with the feet. And yeah, other things like they use a brake pedal with the booster and everything to get more power to it, because these, like if you're driving along and you rip one of them on, it won't lock the wheel up. There's not enough power in the lever, but that's where, like if you're using a booster, that would be good. But it still works. So what I'm going to do is, I've found a tree here. I've had one or two guys at it already, and yeah, what I'm going to do is set up a couple cameras in the car, maybe one outside, and I'll show you how they work and I'll show you how we use them. So pretty much when you're racing, it's all pretty tight, so most of the time you're ducking in and out of trees and things like that. So if you're coming up and you had to do a U-turn around this tree and make it before this tree, you know, you could cut in and you could do it in one swoop and get out of there, where if you had to do a 3-point turn, you lose pretty valuable time. And if you had to do a 3-point turn, if you had to do 5 in one stage where you didn't have to with the cutting brakes, that's massive time. Like you save 15-20 seconds, even longer, depends on how fast you are backing up. So yeah, they're definitely valuable bit of equipment. And also socially driving, I still use them. If you're on off-cambered sections or you need to winch the front around or whatever, I'll put the front locker in and leave the rear locker out. And yeah, you can pull the inside wheel. There is actually a clip that I'll put in now of one of the drives we done the other week, where it was a good example of how the cutting brakes work. I was the only car that managed to keep the front high on the off-cambered bit, and you can see that locking up the back wheel and driving the other down wheel, and had the front spinning as well, managed to keep the front up and across the bank. So I'll put that in now. Yeah, good bit of equipment, and obviously you have to have a rear locker to make them work, because you need to be able to separate the drive between the wheels. So one wheel obviously locks up and then the drive goes to the other wheel. So it definitely works well. Also came in handy on one of the rally stages at Wild Dog. We actually won it. Instead of trying to rally through the paddock with the rear locker in, you get a lot of understeer. And if you have the rear locker out and you're trying to turn corners, it tends to just spin the inside wheel. So what you can do when you're cornering, you drag the inside wheel with the cutting brake and it sends the drive to the outside wheel, and you can corner heaps faster without the downfall of understeer. So that actually works really well, and I was pretty happy with winning that stage. So I'll whip the bonnet back on, and then I'll set up some cameras and I'll show you around this tree. It would be good if it was a little bit tighter, but anyway, you'll get the idea, hopefully. Also, we can't forget the mini boss. Chainsaw just lives in here. It's yeah, always good to have a chainsaw, so that never leaves the car. pretty much, and fire extinguishers. So I've got 4 in here, so 1 there, 1 under the driver's seat, 1 here, and 1 on the other side. So you can never have enough fire extinguishers, and I think I've got the same in the wagon. I'm pretty sure I've got 4 in that, or at least 3 anyway. So there'd be nothing worse than watching your car burn to the ground because you don't have fire extinguishers. It's one investment that you definitely should make. These birds are making some racket. And we're doing it 2-wheel drive because why not? So hopefully that demonstrated a little bit. With the rear locker in, I didn't even make that tree, so massive turning circle. With the rear locker out, I just made it past, and with the cutting brake, we were able to spin it out and then hug this tree. You can see how tight I was here. I was about 1 meter off the tree, and then yeah, just fly out of the corner. So it's definitely, like, it's probably not as evident here with such a big gap between the trees, but if you had a tree like real tight somewhere here, yeah, 100% without cutting brakes, it'll be a 3-point turn. So hopefully that, yeah, demonstrates how they work in sort of a corner situation. And that small video I would have put in previously hopefully demonstrated how it can work in off-camber sections and that. Realistically, if you don't really need it, like, it's just there because, but it is pretty cool. So, and of course 2-wheel drive is, you're not winning any races, but fun though, so why not? So there it is, quick rundown on this car. Obviously I could talk about this car for hours on end. There is so much effort and work to go into building something like this. There'd be, at a rough guess, I've roughly calculated maybe, like, there'd be over 2,000 hours work in it. So yeah, I could talk about this car forever, which I'm not going to bore you with, but hopefully, yeah, quick rundown of the car. If you've been following the channel for a while, you probably would have nearly seen most of it anyway. And yeah, quick rundown on how the cutting brake works. So if you enjoyed it, drop a like, and yeah, drop a comment, let me know. And if you want to know anything else, just swing me a message. I'm pretty easy going. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that so you keep up to date with what's going on. So we'll see you on the next one.